How's it going, everyone? Thank you again for returning back to my channel. This is my wife, Nigeria,
Hello.
and today we're going to talk about Abbott Elementary. It's 2 seasons in, I believe, with Quinta Burson. I might be saying her name wrong, or Brunson. Recently, she won as Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy, that being Abbott Elementary, and Tyler James Williams won as Best Supporting Actor in the exact same category. And then the show itself, if I'm correct, also won as Best Comedy Series at the Global Awards recently. So I want to go over
Golden Globe Awards.
huh,
At the Golden Globe
Golden
Awards.
Globe Awards. Thank you.
Seth, I know you're probably high, but from the heart, everything you've ever made me want to make comedy. Comedy is so important to me. Comedy brings people together. Comedy gives us all the same laugh. Hey, Brad Pitt. Um,
So I wanted to go over, like I said, plot. We'll talk about a little how we feel at first, but I do want to go over the things that I felt really reached out to me with the plot and what I think made the show stand out. Um, in a world today where a lot of people have attempted to do the whole workplace show with the where you're very aware that the cameraman is there. We've seen that type of thing be done several times, and only a few times has it actually succeeded. Like with The Office, Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Personally, we like Parks and Rec. Not a lot of people. Like, I hear a lot of back and forth with Parks and Rec. A lot of people try and compare it to The Office, the American version, and I think that they're both respectable in their own thing.
I mean, they're made by the same people.
Yeah. Shout out to Abbott Elementary because they won against shows even like Wednesday, which has been like an internet sensation all over the place. They won against people like Gina Ortega, who, by the way, is still a phenomenal actress herself. But I have a lot of respect for that. They really made it up there. And honestly, um, I love the fact that I love the representation. I love that it's something that shows us with that same type of atmosphere, the workplace attitude and teaching and all of that, which we've seen again in a lot of shows before, but they haven't had too much of our representation. And yet it doesn't feel like it's forced either. It doesn't feel like it's something where it's just in your face, like, oh, this show is about being black. None of that. It's just you see us, you see your own skin tones in it, and it's just really funny and really good writing.
And it's cool that Janine is a writer.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's who I think her name is Quinta Brunson. Yeah, but we'll probably just call her Janine for the rest
Yes.
of the video. Also, by the way, who's your favorite character from Abbott Elementary? Please let us know in the comments. Who's your favorite character?
Mm, it would have to be Eddie.
Eddie.
Sometimes it's Jacob, but I think Eddie does
Yeah,
it.
I think that's mine too. His name is Eddie. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's mine too. You know I'm bad with names. I can watch a show over and over and over, and it takes me a long time to catch on the names. Okay, so the plot. So I tried to do my best to word the plot within my own words. So I said Janine starts a new school, or starts at a new school, and wrestles with wanting order in a school full of chaos. She's used to things being done properly and is thrown into a chaotic situation with a principal who doesn't do her job well. Now, with Janine, she also has her own life that's been stuck in a loop of order, and in reality, she needed a chaotic push herself. This, of course, referring to her boyfriend of probably like 20 plus years. By the way, this is going to have spoilers. So if you haven't seen all of the show, just a fair warning, we're going to talk about a little spoilers. She even has issues from her past, like her mother and her sister's issues create this urge within her to want to fix everything. And on another note, she can be timid towards certain confrontations. If it's not including one of her kids, anything with like Ava's remarks, which are always left field towards her, or Greg's interests is Greg.
Mm-hmm.
You said Eddie. Which one is Eddie? I was talking about Greg. Who's Eddie?
Who is Greg?
Greg is Tyler James Williams'
I thought that
character.
was Eddie. It is Gregory.
Yeah.
Oops.
We were talking about Gregory, not Eddie.
I
We're
don't know
not
who
sure who
Eddie
Eddie
is.
is. Or Greg's interest in her when it comes to that. Like you can tell she knows she can pick up on some things and she clearly has interest in him herself, yet she's kind of timid towards saying anything about it. But that's not her entire character. Her entire character isn't just timid because every time there's an issue with the school itself for the kids, she's the first one ready to start a riot to get it fixed. So I think that's really interesting about her.
And then he pulls out a lollipop that she gave him.
I don't want to interrupt, but your spaghetti's getting cold.
When I asked for the lollipop, he spit it out into my hand.
You know, you guys can eat and listen. I've seen you do it.
You know, I have seen students produce fluids that made me briefly consider that they might be an alien species.
Think about spaghettis. You want to eat it.
Janine, stop interrupting. You and Jacob did a good job yesterday. In 30 seconds, everyone's going to tell you so. Just let the man finish his story.
She said I did a good job.
The point is,
Little by little, we see her getting more comfortable, but sometimes she needs a push. She also is not allowing her situations to keep her from trying to make a change, but rather learning new ways to handle her issues and solve problems. And we see this as the show progresses. You know, the rest of the teachers are basically like, "Oh, you're never going to get anything done here. You can just forget about it." The principal is lazy and everything else. The school
like,
district ain't
this
going
is
to
how
fix
it
anything.
goes.
Yeah, this is how it
We'll
goes.
just deal with it.
But yeah, we see that her attitude, she sees that her way of handling it might not work exactly, but she just finds new ways. She still has that attitude of there must be order, no matter how chaotic the situation is. At least that's what I keep perceiving. And by the hookah episode, she finally gets out of her comfort zone fully, from dancing with Greg and vibing the night away to talking to one of Greg's friends,
It took the whole
albeit just
episode.
friends. Yeah, but I think that was kind of a turning point because we finally, well, hopefully, it'll be a turning point going forward because we finally see her break out of that shell, get comfortable, and they're like vibing
They
on
were.
that dance floor.
And then they got back and it was so awkward.
Yeah. But I think it was still I think it was still something that's gonna birth something new in her character.
Yeah, hopefully they're going to get it together.
Yeah.
That's all I'm waiting for.
You just need Amber out the picture. All right, so what I like in the plot, we're gonna talk about what we like in the plot: the black representation, down even to the hairstyles, which we already talked about, and a fresh take on the life of the school from adults' point of view versus kids. We're gonna talk about and with the actual plot itself, what what hooked us to the show. So I love the twist. The other day we were talking about creating new worlds for your characters, and I love how Quinta creates a new world in this show. It's obviously still Earth and yada yada, and like I said, not everything has to be a brand new world, but there are ways to take the reality as your audience knows it and kind of flip it on its head. So this school is pretty bad, and a lot of us kind of relate to bad schools that don't get taken care of and things like that, and that is kind of reality. Although I will say that when it comes to the boss, that's kind of the flip on the head because I personally I've dealt with some bad bosses, but I've never seen someone that's that incompetent and just willingly lazy wrapped all in one. Um, and it's someone who blackmailed just to get in her position. You've heard of things like that, but not everyone has actually dealt with something like that. So I was like, that's the huge kind of flip that makes this whole situation very unique.
Oh my God, what did he just say to you? That if you don't do well, you're going to get fired?
Worse. He mumbled and I didn't hear it.
But even Ava has some development because then you see that her character, when it came down to it, she really did care about the school because she couldn't have everybody in there helping her when she had her presentation to the superintendent.
Hmm.
So she just had to be honest and just tell what she know. And even though she didn't get the help because she blackmailed him, she still proved that she loves the school and
Yeah, and I
she
like
loves her
that too. It
job.
shows a growth, and it takes a different, I think that's a different route altogether because usually when we have the antagonist, they just kind of stay the antagonist, but there's something different about it. But she's annoying, she's extra,
But
but at the
she's
same
comfortable
time,
where she's at. She loves her
yeah,
kids
she
and she
does
loves
love them. Yeah.
her.
So yeah, with this world of hers and how it's unique, it's another workplace sitcom, yet it takes place in a school, already making it unique from an office or an office tied in politics, like Parks and Rec, or something taking place in retail like Superstore. That
That's what
was
it
the other one.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Superstore. I guess that one's done a little different because I don't think they talk to the camera, like Modern Family, but it's still that workplace sitcom, Superstore, Blockbuster.
I don't know if they talk to it, but they do look at it a lot.
Yeah,
So they're still aware that it's there
yeah.
as well.
So she took a similar um, workplace sitcom, a similar thing that we're used to seeing with these different shows, but she inverted it to create her own new thing. So she took a similar concept that we've seen before, but she drove it to the extreme to create a whole new uniqueness to the show. And so, a lot like I was saying in the past video that I did, where I talked about either choosing a different time period, inverting things from our reality, or just creating a brand new world altogether, we see there's inverting right here. Again, inverting the way we have things in our reality, where typically you either run your job correctly or you're let go of. Even blackmailed or not, someone over him would have seen to that situation and fired her, or the other superintendents, or the other people on the board. I mean, and she even throws in another thing that kind of connects us back to our reality with having Greg being the person that is meant to have the job. And we all, I think, have had an issue or a time in our lives where we were meant to have something, but it gets taken away no matter how hard we work for it, or someone else gets it who we know didn't work nowhere near as hard as us, and they get this. And I'm like, that's very relatable. I think all of us have seen or had that issue where it's like, no, that's supposed to be mine. But, and,
We even see moments where he like thinks about what if he was the principal at the
uh
school, and tells her like when he went to the office and he just sat in the chair,
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. He's just kind of taking it in for a moment.
but having to realize she's here and it's her role, but I still like being here, so
Yep,
I'll get over it. Maybe at the end of the show he'll be with Janine and he'll be principal. Like I like
that would
Ava,
be nice.
but that would be cool.
Uh-huh. They're gonna find a way to keep Ava in though. She's
You could just make her a teacher. She
yeah, they
she
could do
taught
something like that, I
when
guess. Oh,
Janine
she
was
did.
out. Yeah, when
I
Janine was
guess
out.
she could. She teaching. Them
She
kids
read,
gonna be in
but she
trouble.
read the
Yeah, they're gonna have to
she
keep
read the
making.
binder.
They're gonna have to keep making binders for her.
She's like Leslie in that sense from Parks and Rec. She can make binders.
Oh, Janine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's that serious about it. That's right. Yeah,
Hmm.
Leslie was. She made binders and videos and
Everything.
things. Uh-huh. Okay, so something else I really like about the show is the balance of fictional things with reality. We was kind of just talking about that, but I want to go into a little more detail. So, for example, what you brought up earlier with how Janine and Greg was going to help Ava with her presentation. In reality, I feel like that wouldn't necessarily be the case. For one, typical people like Greg, it's not fixing to help you more with a job you can't handle when it's supposed to be my jobs kind of thing. But he had a soft spot and stuff like that. And two, also, it's kind of it's a show. It's an interesting show, but I'm just like, there's no way people would even agree because I'm sure in real life, Ava would know, okay, y'all can't help me on this business. I mean, I don't know. She don't really know much, so maybe. But the balance of that is that okay, like I said, you have them willing to help her.
He did struggle
Uh,
with that in the beginning though. Like he didn't want to help her. He wanted to see her
yeah,
shine.
I would have too.
Hmm.
But
But
also
everybody else was just like, "Come on."
another fictional part of that is Ava's, like you was just mentioning, to me it's kind of comical, but I get it. I get the growth in her character, but she somehow comically pulls off actually winning over the board with the belief that she loves these kids. And I believe she loved the kids too. She even makes you as the audience kind of have a soft spot for her for a second when she's just been the
Just a brief
annoying,
moment.
yeah, just a brief moment when she's been the most annoying character in the show. And then you're just like, I mean, she's funny though, but yeah, very annoying for the situation. And it's just like, wow, she actually pulled that off.
At
In
least
real life, I
she's
don't think that would happen, but it makes for a great show.
at
That's when
least
like I like that
she's
balance of
funny,
it.
but she's not comic relief funny. Like
Yeah,
everybody's funny.
yeah.
So like if she was gone, we wouldn't like lose comedy.
Yeah, I think if she was gone though, it would lose its kind of edginess that she brings because she out there
Well, so
with it. She
is
brings a wildness to her.
We don't want to get sticky, do we?
Y'all are getting this, right?
Well, have a great day, Ava.
Don't tell me what kind of day to have. Getting all presumptuous and rude.
So he knew you and was like, more.
Marcella or Melissa, I mean? Marcella, Melissa. Yeah, but see, Melissa is a different type of edgy.
she's that Philly edgy.
Yeah.
She plays that well.
Uh-huh.
I haven't spoken to my blackmailer in 2 years. Do I miss my sister? Yeah, every day.
Janine, get your girl and tell her to watch out because you don't know who you're messing with.
Okay. So, what I got from that is you should watch out and you don't know who you're messing with.
So yeah, that fictional kind of element of her actually being able to um, kind of pass her presentation to the board, balanced with at the same time the reality of a lot of things don't get fixed with schools.
Hmm.
There's a lot of twisted, not just politicians, but even or government officials, but even people in the school board and everything else who get blackmailed. There is some realness to that. I might not see it a lot, but there's a lot of people who shouldn't be in their jobs still there.
Right,
A
like
lot of
even at the church, why Barbara had to
yeah,
tell
because that was
the
in the same episode too, right
Barbara had
after
to get on the other lady about I think she was
knowing what
stealing
she's
money from
doing.
the church,
Uh-huh.
so she was just like,
And that
help me
is
get
stuff that
that
we
grant.
and that is stuff that we see in real life. Again, it's twisted into that fantasy or fictional kind of element, but that is a lot of things that we see in real life with just like I said, just twisted individuals who shouldn't be where they're at. Even the superintendent himself, he shouldn't be where he's at from the cheating or whatever. However, he tried to
I
rectify
mean,
the
that had nothing to
situation.
do with the school, though.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people. You have to look at it like it's a profession. I mean, it's a profession. You're supposed to be a professional. So things you do like that are scandalous, just like politicians, it can affect your job. There are
No,
people
I
who lose
got
their
you, but
jobs over
remember
stuff like
when
that.
they broke down what actually happened? He was not with his first wife, and he was getting with the new one. So, like he said,
Got you. Okay.
he
So it
just
wasn't like a straight out just cheating, but it was
no.
in. Okay, I didn't catch
It
on.
was like he was getting with the new girl, but the issue was that
He was still legally married.
I think so. I think that was the
Okay,
issue. They were
got you.
probably separated, but still legally married. So it still seemed bad.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he confronts her about it, and he was just like, "So what you were seeing was me with my future wife because I'm married to her."
Yeah. Okay, I do
So he
remember
had
that.
all that
Okay.
confidence then, because
Yeah.
he was legal at that
He
point.
has some bass in his voice
Uh
there.
huh.
But yeah, so that balanced with, the reality of, there are twisted individuals out there. There are things in the schools that don't get fixed, but also, you know, issues in people with homes or apartments or even schools again having things that won't get fixed unless it's an emergency. I mean, we see that played out where I think it was Barbara who grabs Melissa's bat and goes in the bathroom and breaks the last
Oh my gosh,
bathroom because
yes,
she knew it would be an emergency then, and then the people actually take care of that. And
that
I've
was
seen a lot
hilarious.
of. I remember when I was in
She
school.
scared them.
When I was in school, having a lot of teachers complain about how nothing gets fixed unless it's an emergency.
Hmm.
So I'm like, things like that is definitely something that's real. As funny as it was for us on TV, again, it's that balance of, it's not just all completely far left and goofy. And okay, like The Office, for example, I love The Office, but a lot of the things that happen in The Office seem like very far stretched kind of scenarios. It works for the show for sure. Whereas this, again, I feel like it has that perfect balance of some far stretchness with a lot of, things we can definitely relate
Well, I
to.
think some of the things in there were frustrating because their boss was weird.
Oh yeah, definitely. Michael brought a whole nother spin and extra craziness to it
Because
too.
in that situation, most of that stuff wouldn't have happened had it been Charles. Like, for example, when Charles was there, a lot of that
Hmm.
stuff didn't happen. It was all,
Yeah.
everybody was serious. The only person who was really having issues was Jim because he was used to his boss. So he was used to basically relaxing in most
Still getting his
of
work done, but being
everything.
able to be more relaxed and stuff. And
Yeah,
now he
and
has
not
to.
uptight and worried
Uh-huh.
about everything that he's doing. The scene in the exclusive on Peacock, it
Hmm.
was just like, he was eating a salad and Charles comes out and he's just like, "Oh, that looks really good. Oh, I like that. That looks nice." And then Jim was so happy. And then it cuts over when he's looking at the camera. He's just like, "I don't know why that felt so good. My
I
boss
remember
liking my
that.
salad,
Yes.
my lunch." I
It was
was
like
like,
somebody that hadn't gotten approval or something ever was seeking for approval. All of a
"Oh,
sudden, Jim turned into a whole nother
a whole
kind of
nother
character.
character."
Uh huh.
He's like, "I'm not used to this. My boss loves me. What is? I don't know."
And I don't even think it's as much as him needing the love. I think it was just so much disapproval he got from Charles because
Up
at
front,
where was he at? Was it Utica or what was the other branch that Jim went to for a little bit?
I don't remember.
At the branch that he went to a little bit after his rejection from Pam,
Hmm.
he didn't care that Josh was his boss. He didn't care that he didn't like love him. It was just a mutual respect there. It was just
Yeah, he
like
was number two
there
there
was yeah.
as well.
So and it could have been from Josh really liking him, but I think it was just a lack of um, the extra. I disapprove of everything you're doing and stuff like that. Like Charles,
Off rip, he
yeah,
was just
Charles
like,
had
"Why are
that
you
one
wearing a
impression.
tuxedo?"
And that was kind of a bad impression though, because you're wearing tuxedo, which is a comical kind of goofy thing, unless you're at I think those are for proms and
My thing was, he's still dressed business appropriate. Why does it matter?
kind of. I get. It
He's
is
not in
petty. It
sweatpants.
is petty, but I get it. Like it just threw him off. But Charles is like militant for a paper company. It's kind of like what you said. It's like it's still business. Like it's a paper company. It's not
He came from, what is it? Santa
stocks.
Coy Steel.
Santa Quest. That's right.
My God was just
Acting like he
like,
came out of the military.
he's like, "You're not from paper?
Hmm.
Does David know?"
Okay, so lastly, I want to talk about characters. This is something else that I think makes her show, Janine's show, or Quinta's show, unique from every other show. Is how she handles her characters and the whole writing team. I know it wasn't just her that came up with the show, but all of the writing team, whoever was responsible for what, I love how they
I'm
handled
still
the
gonna give her full
characters.
credit. She said she created it.
Yeah, she needs her
So
credit. Yep. And I want to look at the characters because in some ways they're generic, but in a lot of ways they beat the common stereotype of these different characters as we see them in other shows. For example, Miss Barbara, she's a godly woman. That's explained, or she states that at the beginning of, I think, the very first episode. And typically in other comedy shows or in any shows, period, nowadays, the Christian character, the religious character, or godly character, especially if their religion is related to Christianity, they're the extreme judgmental, like what's her name from The Office, Angela.
Oh my
Extremely
God, yes.
judgmental, and don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, there are some people out there like that who claim to be Christians and they're very judgmental. Yet Barbara, they don't make that her character. It's still a part of her that she's godly because of how she has higher class, her thinking and morals and things like that, and her ways of thinking and her talking about going to church and things like that. It's a part of her character without being this negative part of her character.
As a good Christian woman, I would never mark my body with such an obscenity. I don't even believe in saying that word out loud. Oh, my favorite B word? Barbara. Uh, Bible. Blessing. Excuse me. I was just wondering if, when you are around the children, if you might cover up a bit.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Thank you.
You have a good one.
Miss Howard,
Yes.
what's SLU?
It is the St. Louis University of Technology.
It's not the first time this has happened to me. People are quick to judge, but that's part of the thinking behind my apparel line. You see, one day soon, when people hear Forever Bitch apparel, they're gonna think about locally made, Black-owned, and sustainable business practices.
And that is something that I would love to support.
And sometimes I do get a little busy and I forget that Forever Bitch isn't for the kids. So I'll be sure to wear PG-rated clothing from now on when I pick Tamika up.
Thank you.
And it's so much in television today do we see this common trope of, oh, as soon as we see the Christian person, oh, we know that they're going to be the judgmental one. They're going to be the extra Bible thumping, annoying person in the room.
Hypocritical.
Hypocritical a lot. And again, we do have that issue, but not all of us are like that. So it was very refreshing to have someone who represents a religious character and not be the common trope like we've seen it so many times. And she's also strong in her beliefs too. It's not like it's hidden either. She's very strong in her beliefs. She doesn't back down, but also she's open to change. In the episode where she kind of, I guess, has a judgment towards Melissa, or not really a judgment. I took it more like she's just like that's the line that's where I draw the line. Again, with the basically blackmailing the other person from church who was stealing. She didn't want to do that, but towards the end, she realized, I could still be strong woman within my beliefs and not.
I don't even think she blackmailed her. I think she just straight up let her know that she knew.
Yeah, which was
But
just
she
like,
did it in
yeah.
her own classy way. She was just like, I
hmm
know what you've been doing. You know,
It was a form of blackmail.
I guess.
She hit it with that low key. She hit it with that kind of mafia stare down. Like I'll get you
I know
fired
what
from the
you've been doing,
church.
just like you know that
I'll
I've been
get you
applying for this
blackballed.
grant every year.
hmm But I like that. Like she changed for that sense, and Melissa's already a very close friend to her, probably her best friend on the show, and she even apologized. She even apologizes to her. It wasn't a situation where she has this realization that her religion is flawed and that maybe being a Christian is too much, like I've seen before in television. No, she's still a strong Christian woman, but she still apologizes. She still says, I was wrong on that, and even gives in to what Melissa's plan was. And I
She
like that
basically
about
felt
her.
like judging her character, even though she knows her
Uh-huh.
as a person, she just didn't like that. And
Yeah.
she's still like confessing, like, look, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah, I like that. See, to me, that's you're going out of your way to be different with your writing, and that's what's going to bring me into the show fully. I've seen the common things over and over. I've seen things that even though I like them, they can be offensive. Everyone wants to cry about offensive things and stuff like that, but people just minding their business, loving God or whatever, and then you got to attack them. I'm like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of idiots out there going protesting and using God behind their protest to scream hate. And but that don't mean you got to bash them all, and then in your TV show and expect me to actually like it or stuff.
Right.
And I still, enjoy some of these, but they're extra. Like the boys, love the boys, but a lot of common theme in the boys is religion is bad. A lot of it. And it's still a great show, but I'm just like, that kind of gets tiring. So again, it's that
Every
refreshment
once
of,
in a while, we need a show that shows it correctly.
yeah, or at least just the other side of it, because I'm sure there's a lot of people saying, well, they are showing it correctly because they've seen the wrong type of Christian out there. They've seen the wrong side of religion, um, versus the peaceful version out there. But I guess we all got to remember in every group, you got your extremists.
Right. You have your naysayers and your I don't know the other one.
I got you. I think I got what you're trying to say.
The people who are doing it right and the people who are doing it wrong in
Gotcha.
every
Yes.
group.
Yes. For sure.